Welcome to the Danny Clinkscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Insightful and witty commentary, probing interviews, and detours from the beaten path.
Hello again. It's time for another riveting, sensational, and apoplectic edition of Thirsty Thursdays, and it's sense and nonsense. And boy, there's a lot of sense and nonsense going on in the world today. We'll try to keep things generally light here on Thirsty Thursdays because part of it is just so festive. As I'm concluding a rather brisk first beer, I'm not sure that the brewers of Warsteiner would appreciate the fine German Pilsner that has disappeared down my gullet pretty fast and will be followed up by a suggestion from you, a Shinerbach Ruby Redbird, which looks very tasty. And you have some kind of summer special there. And you look downright preppy.
Thank you, Danny.
Joe is all scrubbed up. He's got pink shorts on, a polo shirt with vertical stripes or horizontal stripes. I mean, you look like the taste of summer right now.
It's summertime, Danny. I got to
Especially
dress the part.
Especially if you were in Provincetown in Massachusetts. You know anything about Provincetown?
I don't.
Okay, well, this is the introduction, so we don't need to start rambling like that. But anyway, it is another fine edition of Thirsty Thursday. We are thirsty. We will be quenching our thirst a little bit as we weigh in on various things, as we always do. We'll start off with the always ever-popular fact check and roll on from there. And it all starts next. Raise a glass and come on aboard. Cinematic Visions has been an affordable solution for professional media production in Kansas City since 2003, offering award-winning video production and creation, as well as a wide array of digital and social media management services. From planning, scripting, filming, editing, and post-production, to delivering your product to a watching world, Cinematic Visions will provide professional and affordable services for you and your business with the necessary return on investment to make it all worthwhile. Cinematic Vision's goal is to unlock the power of storytelling through video and a strong online presence for your company. Beyond the numbers, they want to inspire and evoke your clients to feel and act. Let my friends at Cinematic Visions embed your brand where it belongs, in your customers' minds. You can find them online at cinematicvisions.com or with a quick phone call at 816-600-6300.
Hi, this is Matt Llewellyn from 23rd Street Brewery. Thank you, Kansas City, for supporting all the local restaurants during this time of crisis. Starting Thursday, May 21st, the 23rd Street Brewery will be open from 11 to 9 for carry-out and delivery service and 4 to 9 for dine-in and patio service, if you can believe that. We're open. During this phase, we will adhere to the Douglas County recommendations for restaurants, and please see our website or our Facebook page for details. Most importantly, we want all of our guests and staff to stay safe, and together, we will all get through this.
My friends at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture are among the most accomplished and trusted clinics in the nation. Only one clinic has been rated in the top 5 in all 3 categories of chiropractic care, acupuncture, and rehabilitation, and that clinic is ASFCA. They have locations in Olathe, Overland Park, Prairie Village, Belton, and Lee Summit. Doctors Brad and Christina Woodle and their accomplished team of doctors and therapists will treat you like family, for the simplest of injuries to the most complicated conditions to avoid surgery. Whether you are seeking treatment for an injury or just looking to stay healthy and fit, this is the place for you. And it's been the place for me for almost 2 years now. I have been a strenuous daily exerciser for years, and as time goes on, that takes its toll. But regular appointments at Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture have helped keep me ticking on, and even as the years pile up, their regular care has allowed me to keep to my regimen and feel great. If you want to feel the same, give them a call or visit them at asfca.com/Danny. They accept all insurances and are open Monday through Saturday, and make sure to mention that Danny Clinkscale recommended Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture.
If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you.
All right, we're back here with the fact check. It's Joe with your fact check. I wrote it down here.
Ooh,
on my
man's got notes.
Crumpled piece of paper.
I wouldn't say it's a notepad, but there are notes.
So we talked about backwater jacks.
Yes.
And diseases that may have been transmitted there. The Missouri Department of Health came out and said they did contract tracing and there was no COVID passed at Backwater Jack's.
That's good news.
I don't know if that's true.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Well, I think it's good news. I hope it's accurate. But one thing I think is dangerous is that we don't need all these doses of good news. Not that we want people to get sick, but we don't want people to just say, hey, it's all over. I mean, look what's happening in Texas. They were one of the first states to open, and they are spiking right now.
Yeah. We're going to talk about what we are and aren't doing later. That's one of my questions for you.
Okay.
But, it seems like good news.
Absolutely.
So we talked about peanut butter and specifically peanuts, and I had told you that it was a U.S. crop. It is a U.S. crop. It's largely grown here, and it is grown in the South. They grow, let's see here. It is the 7th most valuable crop in the United States, over $1 billion, right? They grow it in 10 states. 99% of it is grown in 10 states, and it's all in the South except for Oklahoma and New Mexico. So
is it like almost exclusively American product?
From what it looked like, we are by far the biggest grower of peanuts.
Well, peanut butter is a really indigenous thing to America. The peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yep.
We talked about the fluffernutter, probably not as well known, certainly, as the peanut butter and jelly or the peanut butter and banana, or all the permutations we talked about last time. But I just wonder what, in other countries, whether peanut butter is really popular.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't think so. From what I read, it's an American thing. But Vegemite's bigger over there, which we talked about. And I looked it up. We both talked about how we had not had Vegemite. So a little surprise for you, Danny. I ordered a jar of Vegemite, and on the next Thirsty Thursdays, we will be live tasting our first Vegemite experience.
I have a tendency to think that I will embrace the Vegemite.
You know
but
what
I have heard disastrous reactions to it.
You know what it's made from?
I don't.
It's a leftover brewer's yeast. So when I read that, I thought, well, this is perfect for us.
That's perfect. It does not sound encouraging as far as the food stuff. I'll say that. But you never know.
You had said a peanut is a legume, and it is a legume, so good job there.
Thank you.
We did a lot of talking about mayonnaise last time. So I did a little research on mayonnaise. Became the most popular when it really became in prominence was in the 1700s in France, right? So,
mayonnaise.
And but they found it in writings like a simple mayonnaise recipe going back to the 14th century in Spain.
Nice.
Isn't that nuts?
That is and because it seems like it might be a relatively complex little thing.
Well, that's how you know it's so good. It's lasted 600 years so far.
You know, we talked about the vagaries of the tuna fish sandwich, which, I created. I didn't know my mom was just ignorantly using salad dressing. But the other day, I actually went out and got my wife. Oftentimes, will send me out to a certain brand of grocer. I don't have to say what it is because she likes their fried chicken. And I'll get some potato salad with that. The Reese's brand, which coincidentally enough had a gigantic outbreak of COVID. But anyway, so she always gets the red potato version, which is one of my favorites as well.
Okay.
Red potato salad. So it wasn't there; it was sold out, and I just got the original. And the original, even though I looked and saw that it was made with mayonnaise. Mm-hmm. Was not really that great a product. It tasted somewhat like it was made with salad dressing.
It smells like Miracle Whip to me.
Yeah, it did. It said mayonnaise. Now maybe further down it said we sneak it in 0.2%.
That's
mayonnaise
enough to ruin it.
Yeah, but anyway, so I can highly recommend the red potato salad from Reese's, the original. Not if potato salad looks yellow to me, I'm out.
Oh,
I'm out.
I'm just out on potato salad.
I don't like potato salad.
Oh, no. The only potato salad I've ever had that I liked is at Q39. It's like it's very herby, and it's not just mushy mustard and mayonnaise.
Well, since we often talk about things of this have you ever had German potato salad?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's a different food.
It is a different food, and it's completely different.
Yeah, and it's delicious.
It's good. It is good.
If you put German in front of it and it's a food, there's a really good chance I'm going to like it.
Okay.
We were talking about Westerns, and you talked about the movie Silverado. And I'm noticing a pattern here. You think that the early to mid 80s was 20 years ago, because this is the second time this has happened.
Yeah, no question that I don't think of it as a long time ago. And I am somebody who thinks that I don't think time flies.
Okay.
I absolutely don't. For instance, if something is...
Like when you were at the bank today.
Well, time sure didn't fly with that old lady in the Corolla, I'll tell you that. But something 10 years ago, to me, really usually does seem like a long time ago. But yes, I will say that when I think of music or movies from the 80s or early 90s, it doesn't seem like that's upwards of 30 years ago. It does not. I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have a theory, my wife and I have a theory that, like, there's a date in everybody's life that is like, that was the starting point of whatever, right? And you always use that as your, so like mine is the year 2003, right? Like, if it was 2000, that seems like it's not that long ago. You know what I mean? Because it was only 3 years ago, even though it's 2020, right? So, but the point is, Silverado, the movie that you said had come out in the last 20 years, came out in 1985.
Did I say 20 years?
Yes, you said within the last 20.
Oh, my God.
And there were a lot of stars. John Cleese was in it, which I'm going to have to see this now. Kevin Costner, of course, like you said.
Jeff Goldblum's in it.
Yeah, Jeff Goldblum, Danny Glover. So, seems like a good one. I looked up fish soup recipes.
Uh-huh.
So I read 4 or 5 of them. The highest rated 4 or 5, they said you only use the bones and the head of the fish. You're not actually using any of the body of the fish.
That certainly could be possible.
So they basically fillet the fish, serve the fillets, and then whatever's left, they just blend it up.
Well, I'll tell you what, I don't care what it's made of. It is delicious. It is absolutely delicious.
Because I like to cook. I fancy myself a chef. I thought about making some. I don't know. We'll see.
That sounds like something. Just wait till you go to France.
You just wait till you go
to France.
And then finally, I looked up like crazy trying to find the New Orleans beer.
Oh, it's.
Did you remember it?
I did, and now I'm not going to remember right now. It's Abita.
Okay, that was one of the 2 I wrote down, yes. Wrought iron or Abita.
Yeah, Abita. They make a nice line of beers. I think their most popular one is Turbo Dog.
Turbo Dog.
But they have a nice dark beer, so Abita is the one.
Okay, well I didn't know how to say
it.
And
I also talked about the Nashville Blues Bar there, and it's actually not called the New Orleans. It's called the Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar. And if anybody is ever in Nashville, it's a fantastic place. It's in an area called Printer's Alley, which is a couple blocks off the downtown. If this is your fancy, there's a strip club or 2 there.
Not that you ever visited.
I'm not a fan. Should we go down this road?
I don't. Sure. Absolutely.
I'm not really a strip club guy.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Not really. Not like I haven't been there, because how many bachelor parties have ended up in a strip club. My younger brother, a year younger than me, who he and I became estranged. We're trying to patch that up, but we haven't spoken much or hung out much in probably upwards of 15 years now. And we were thick as thieves. We were the tightest brothers you could ever imagine. He's a big strip club guy, or he was. I mean, big. So that's probably where I got most of my strip club time. But here, I don't even know if we went down this particular. We might have. Probably my favorite strip club story is from River Falls. Did we talk about this?
No, but I definitely need to hear this. Wait a second. There was a strip club in River Falls?
Worse yet. Not really in River Falls. So a group of journalists, I won't tell tales out of school. You would know every single one of them. Let's put it that way. So just let your mind wander, whatever. And we're downtown at one of the 2 or 3 bars, that Bo's and mine or whatever. There's a couple that were big. And somebody says, "Hey, there's a strip club out in the country. Let's roll."
Those are the best kind.
Yeah, well, we went, and the strippers were all cheese curd fed extra white girls. They were. This was, you asked me whether I like smooth peanut butter or chunky. This was a chunky strip club.
Oh,
let's put it that way. These
Danny
were farm-fed gals, and so that's all I'll say. So
oh my gosh,
that did not increase the delights of the strip club.
Well, my strip club days are mostly over, but I've got some. I'm trying to search my memory for a tale that I could tell, but I'm not sure that I have one that I could tell.
Well, I'll be this. This is probably bordering on going across the bounds of even this podcast. But one of my problems with the strip club is I love to gaze at a lovely lady. I don't have any problem with that at all. But for many people, the joys of the strip club is the lap dance.
Yeah, it's gross.
Well, I just draw the line there.
Yeah, I do too.
I think that I'll say this, that to me crosses over from just simple, goofy guy entertainment into borderline cheating on your wife.
Okay, so I'm not going to go there. To me, it's just gross. And I just find it gross. And I find it my favorite activity if I am stuck at a strip club is to just surprise purchase lap dances for other people.
Well, that sounds like because they may be in my category and they may not fancy the lap. Have you ever? Certainly, you've had the experience of the guy who thinks the stripper has fallen in love with him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there was a very. I'll tell you after the show. Another member of the media who absolutely fell into that trap in a Dallas strip club once.
Well, Dallas strip clubs.
And this guy was really about ready to head on down the road with this stripper. And actually, I'll say this name because what's he going to do? Come and sue me? You remember famous Big 8 linebacker and Dallas Cowboy Dat Wynn?
Yes, absolutely. Yes,
he was there. He was there that night. I think he had just been. He's in between college and pro. I believe.
I was at a Dallas gentlemen's club one time, and it was BYOB.
Oh, this was too.
Yeah, and it was enormous. It was like the size of
and it was a really
Macy's.
nice one, but I think that just by the vagaries of the law.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was.
And there was a Ferrari
I know what it was. If you serve alcohol, it can't be all nude.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
And heaven forbid.
Yeah, who wants nobody? Now, I don't even like good strip clubs, really, but I ain't paying good money to see pasties. I'll say that.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I can watch an old movie and see that.
Well, we went down to Dallas to. Have you been to the Jerry Jones?
Yes, I have. For basketball, I've not been there for football.
We went for a Cowboys game a few years ago.
I've been there for the NCAA tournament a couple times.
Yeah. And we had it was through my work, and it was the bigwig thing, and there was we got to sit in a suite.
Oh, by the way,
how's the Ruby
I
Red?
just had my first sip of the Ruby Red Burn. Very tasty.
Yeah, and
it's a Texas beer.
The Shinerbach, absolutely.
Shinerbach.
Yeah, so that's from Texas. I love me some Shiner. We had plenty of Shiners that trip. The thing about Jerry World, it feels like you're in a mall. It doesn't feel like you're at a football game. It's very sterile. It's very I don't know. It just doesn't. It's Arrowhead. It is not right. And this gal in the elevator says, "Well, did you see all that tailgating going on out there?" And there's one little parking lot. We walked in and there's helicopters landing, just one after the other, with people getting off these helicopters because there's all these rich people that helicopter to the game because it's impossible. I guess the traffic or whatever they think it is, or they just want to show off. I don't know. But there's one little parking lot, like the M section at Arrowhead, not even that big. And she's like, look at did you see all those people? And the guy I was with, John, he said to her, well, there's 20 times that many people, and they get out to Arrowhead at 6 a.m. And she's like, no. And I'm like people don't have any idea.
That's one thing that's not oversold about Arrowhead. Now, over the years, certainly the home advantage has been, oversold. I think the atmosphere of the stadium itself for a game has probably been oversold nationally, but nationally, it's great for Kansas City because they love it and they love coming here. But not oversold is the tailgating and, and the enthusiasm for that. And people have extended. You talked about something me referencing something 20 years ago. How many people now, like 64 years old, have been doing it now for 30? And it's a way for them to feel still young.
Yeah, and for me, it was part of feeling like it's like going to opening day. I go to opening day. I'm not the biggest baseball fan in the world, but I go to opening day every year, and I have since I lived here, since I moved here in 05 or 06, whenever we came here, because it just feels like you're part of this big city that's feels like a small town, right? And this is where we all come together. That's what's so important.
Well, it's
about sports.
It's the emulation of college sports in a professional atmosphere, which we really don't see that often.
Yeah, it's insane. But being down in Texas, speaking of Texas, we were talking about Nashville, right? And we were going to talk about Nashville. Have you ever been to Austin?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
so
I want you to
places in the world.
Okay, I want you to tell me about it. Our neighbors are moving to Austin, and they went last weekend, and they just said it was just amazing.
It is amazing.
I've never been.
It's one of my favorite places that I've been. It's been quite a few years since I've been now. It's sort of it's kind of a combination of Nashville and maybe just a little more hippie-ish.
Yeah, like Lawrence.
And it's got it's Solo, I think, South Austin. There's another district, something. I mean, so is for South. And it's got the state capital. The only thing about Austin that sucks is that it was built to be, the infrastructure was built for about 500,000 people.
That's what I've heard.
And
There's
now
not like a loop. There's no highway.
It's awful. The traffic there is absolutely awful. But once you get down there, 6th Street is a bar street that will rival anything. And Austin also is the place where I had my first date after I was divorced.
So it holds a special place in your heart.
Dolly.
The rosy look on your face.
Dolly holds a real soft spot in my heart.
Her name was not Dolly.
It was absolutely Dolly.
Oh,
she
my
was the receptionist at my hotel. And that's
so
how we
Danny, the smooth operator's like, hey.
Well, she was pretty much the smooth operator. I was still kind of working my way out of tragedy. And I'll try to do this super fast. I was looking for transportation down to the
strip club?
To the Drum. No, to cover Monday night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Big Monday
Big
or
Monday,
whatever?
yeah. I was down there for a Big Monday game. And so I went to the front desk, and Dolly and I had been exchanging pleasantries for a few days, to the point where I said, you know what? It's time to get back on the horse, as it were. You've had enough grumpiness and misery. And it was right after I was in Beer Vegas when we talked about
West Texas.
Big tip. I was in Texas for a while there. So anyway, I said I'm going to go down to the Drum. I need a ride. She said, "Okay, we'll arrange something for you, sir." And I said, "Okay," and I said, "We'll take you down." And I said, "Do you need transportation back, my sir?" She looked like Dolly too. I mean, she had big hair, and she was really pretty though. And so I said, I think I'm going to go out on 6th Street, and then I'll just take a cab back after the game.
Mm-hmm.
And she looks at me and she goes, "You're going to go out on 6th Street? You ain't going to ask me?" So she made it pretty easy. Pretty easy for me. And in the end, she actually drove me down in her red pickup truck.
I thought you were going to say, in the end, it was very easy.
And then that too. But so she dropped me off, and I said, I'll just. She said, "You are going to take me out, aren't you?" And I said, the game's at 9. I think it was 9 then, even 8:30 maybe. And I got to work afterwards. I said, it's going to be like midnight. And it was a Monday night.
Yeah.
And she goes, "That's all right. I'll be here." And so there I finish up my work. I walk outside. There's the red pickup truck. And
she's just idling.
And we closed down 6th. And there was stuff going on a Monday night at 6th Street.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, so it was cool. It's a cool place. And, I think it has maybe gotten to the point where has been touted as being so cool for so long that it's now, maybe past the point where it was semi-quaint and cool.
Yeah.
And I haven't been there for a while, so I can't say that's the case. But when I was there, one of the most fabulous places to go in America.
Speaking of ladies in America. Speaking of ladies in our lives, you had an interesting road trip.
We better break before that. Oh, yeah.
We're going to get you a refill.
Yeah. I don't know. I just started this Ruby Red. You need to talk more on this one. I've been rambling here. So
no, I love it.
I think the Ruby Red is getting to me.
I love it. I'd never been to Austin. I wanted to hear it, and now I definitely want to go.
You absolutely should go because the music scene there is fabulous.
Yeah, and that's my type of music. So
fabulous. All kinds of music. Just like Nashville, people think of it as just country music. No.
You've got Third Man Records there. You've got Jack White.
Everything, yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Great stuff. Yeah, we can get into My Misery, which actually you can also hear explored on yesterday's podcast, which is Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jane. So you can get the full details there. But I'll give more my side of the story coming up next. But we won't, go to that podcast. We'll just give you a taste coming up next.
More of Danny's Reasonably Irreverent podcast after this.
We're visiting with Larry Marshall, former Chiefs defensive back and punt returner, and now a Chiefs ambassador. Larry is a former pro football player with the aches and pains that come with that, and moving on in age as we all are. What do the Canaway CBD products do for you?
It's been a great relief for me. Being a punt and kickoff returner, collisions were a mainstay of my career, and these Canaway products, the salve especially, has really helped me try to get through every day with the aches and pains that I've had over a career of 7+ years in the NFL.
I get similar benefits as well, particularly with my back. Certainly wasn't a football player. What's the best way for our listeners to get more information about the great products themselves?
Well, I'm so enthused about it, Dana. They just contacted me at larrymarshall.canaway.com, and I can give them all the information they need to help them get through the day as well.
Start gaining all the benefits that Larry and I do from the trusted and reliable line of Canaway products. As Larry said, visit larrymarshall.canaway.com and get information on all the great products from Canaway.
For many people, a family law case will be one of the most difficult experiences in their life. The law firm of Kenneth McRae will help you through it. Personal and effective help from Ken in concert with you will develop a unique strategy for your unique case. As Ken always says, divorce can be civil law, not civil war. Licensed in Kansas? Visit McRaeLawOffice.com or call 913-972-4765.
I'm here with Tim Emerson, the owner of Emerson & Company. And Tim, give us an idea of the range of services that you provide from Emerson & Company.
At Emerson & Company, we do credit card processing, payroll services. We do bookkeeping, merchant accounts like point-of-sale systems.
What would you say differentiates you from other companies in the field, and what makes you special?
I think what makes us unique is that we're a small local business making regional decisions on companies. We create a profile for the business and then put it out to our different vendors in a very competitive environment and tailor those needs to the specific business, which usually ends up in a great fit or great result for the company.
And, of course, the idea is to save money, right?
Save money, and actually sometimes I'm surprised where actually a solution that may cost a little bit more ultimately does save money, but we're not conditioned to think like that sometimes.
Emerson & Company. Check them out at emerson-co.com or call them at 816-360-9092. If you'd like to join these and other great sponsors and market your business to a growing and engaged audience, contact us at danny@dannyclinkscale.com. Look forward to hearing from you. We are back. No refill in hand for me. I was already moving into the second delightful beer of the day, the Ruby Redbird, after a just epic Warsteiner. And you've got another ice-filled taste of summer.
That's right.
That is your...
it's that time of
Joe,
year.
by the way, Joe, should I actually mention the photo you texted me at 8:51 a.m. the other day on Saturday? Do you mind if I say that?
That's fine, absolutely.
So anyway, I am up and working at my computer, and I hear my because of actually some events that we'll talk about, I always have kept my phone on almost complete silent because I'm a broadcaster, and you'll forget and be at a press conference.
As a person that knows you and tries to get a hold of you, I'm very well aware of that.
So anyway, but the phone dings, and I look, and there's a picture of a hand holding a beverage, an alcoholic beverage. It was a beer. It was just a can of beer. But anyway, it's 8:51 a.m. on the picture, and all it says is, and it's from Joe, obviously, and all it says is lake rules. So there you go. Along with tailgating the lake,
so there's
can
a
get
story,
you rolling early.
There is a story behind that picture.
All right.
I made a concerted effort to start getting up earlier at the lake so I could get the kids out on the tube.
Okay.
Right? In the morning when it's still. And there's
Right.
not a bunch of boats. It's very stressful. There's boats everywhere. I got to be very careful.
Yep.
And so I let everybody know, and then I was the only one that got up. So I'm like, kids, let's go. And I got a sunscreen, 6 kids, and everything else,
Right.
And I get them all out there. I get the tube out there. I get the rope out. I'm going to do this
So
all by myself.
you did a lot of work.
I did a lot of work, and I got down to the boat, and I said, and I very rarely have anything before I go drive the boat. Like, I'm going to have one breakfast beer. And so my wife actually she works 10 times as hard as I do at the lake, so I don't want it to come across as if I'm working harder, but she came down, and right after I took that picture, and she says, breakfast beer?
Two kindred spirits. In the not so kindred spirit idea, I'm not much for breakfast beers, but have had them. Had a breakfast bong or two in my day, back in the day. But I think that my first wife, before we were married, she was horrified at the whole thing, but she knew me. So anyway, we went camping, and she was not much of a camper either. But so I come back from a long run, and it's probably 8:30 a.m., and I'm going to whip up some breakfast.
Okay, hold on. You're camping.
Right.
And you still get up and go run.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I did. Well, I ran every day there, so no
sounds
problem.
awful.
No issue there. So I come back, and I'm indulging at about 8:50, and she doesn't drink.
Nothing.
So this was, she didn't drink, so that didn't go over at all. You can always tell your loved one at that point in time, just the look on their face.
Oh.
You're and you're like, disdain.
I've got that look from a time or two.
Clear disdain. So we're going to get into this. We're going to get into the calamity of my weekend. So your weekend at the lake clearly was epically better than my weekend, which we'll get into in a minute. But have you ever, as a couple, you and your lovely wife, made some really nice plans that went horribly awry? Now, besides you falling into the ocean,
there's that.
At your
but
wedding.
That wasn't our plan. That was my plan.
Yeah, that's true.
Generally, if something goes terribly wrong, it was definitely my plan. Has something,
and you can just say no, which is good.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that when I met my wife, she's like, "Hey, what are we going to do?" It'd be like Tuesday. She'd be like, "What are we going to do on Friday?" And I'd be like, "What are you talking about? I'm not making a plan now. What if something cooler comes up between now and then?" Like,
right. It
really took a lot to get me to be a planner, and so to use a calendar and everything. It really took becoming a professional adult, in work to get me to actually use a calendar. But as soon as that started happening, we plan everything. I mean, I always tell everybody, 20% of my wife and I's communication is through calendar invites. Because
nice.
If it's not on the calendar, it does not exist.
It does not happen.
Yeah,
happen in your world.
We plan everything. So really everything that goes bad is a plan that went bad. So, we've had a time or two. We had a time in Memphis together that we planned this wonderful weekend. And we go down to Beale Street, and we were young. And it's Beale's in Memphis,
yep,
right?
That's right. Yeah, that's
and we go into this piano bar, and we meet this older couple, and this is 2003, 2004.
Like 5 years ago.
Exactly. And this is like Red Bull and vodka was just a thing. It had just become a thing that like entered our like world. And so we would drink all these Red Bull and vodkas, and it's like gets to be like 2:00 in the morning. And we, we're in college, and we walk out onto Beale, and there was nobody on Beale when we walked in. We walk out, and if you've ever been on Beale at 2 a.m., it is just a mass of people.
I've been to Memphis, but I haven't been to Beale Street.
It is just like, in a club, like a college club where you got to hold your drink up in the air just to move around. It's that busy. And we're like, oh, we'll just walk back to our hotel. It's like 8 blocks. We started walking, and we're not in the greatest part of Memphis, and this guy starts following us, right? And so this is the first time we'd stayed as a couple in a hotel, so there was a certain plan
Sure.
for a hotel room, and this guy starts following us, so I'm like, run! So we take off running, and he's sprinting after us, right? I look back, and it looks like he's got a knife in his hand, and we're just running as fast as we can. My wife was a runner. She did marathons back then, and so I'm like wheezing out of shape, and she's sprinting. We get to the parking lot of the hotel, and he kind of peels off, and we run up to the hotel. We get up to our room, and I'd had a dozen Red Bull and vodkas, and I'm out of breath, and I start the Red Bull and vodka decides to exit my body, and so the plan
not the most amorous
the plan
thing.
was not executed,
especially since you're vomiting in a hotel room bathroom.
Oh yeah, there's no no
getting away.
I am not a quiet vomiter. It's an operation that happens. I'm a yell vomiter. So yes, that is a good idea. But we're going to get to your story because I have a lot of Danny that I think is funny. But my favorite Danny is when Danny is just pissy. And we haven't talked in 2 weeks, but we've texted, and it has been pissy Danny. And I want to know, I haven't heard the whole story yet.
All right. Well, this was our anniversary weekend.
Congratulations.
18 blissful, mostly, years of marriage. I made it to 10 twice. so anyway, and, just actually met Jane just a couple years after Dolly, as a matter of fact. She took me away from the glorious bachelor life that I had lived for a couple of years in between my 2 times of matrimony. And so we've had just a wonderful time together in our 18 years. And like 3 years ago, we did our replication of my trip to Leaving Cancer for the Circus together. Had a fantastic time. It coincided with our anniversary. So anyway, we do like doing small town type of things. We love big cities. We love Paris. We love New York City. We love London. We also love Council Grove, Kansas.
Beautiful town.
So we were actually had experienced it last year because we were supposed to go to the Symphony of the Flint Hills, which was thunderstormed out. But we got a room in Council Grove, and we were going to go to the same Airbnb property, a different room, but we were actually the first people to stay in the basement version of this in Council Grove. It's in the bank. Can highly recommend it. An old bank building. So anyway,
beautiful downtown, right?
Old school, and they have a beautiful riverfront park there that's great for biking and hiking. So anyway, we're going to go to Manhattan first because there's a lighting store where my wife shops for lighting, and we needed to replace a particular light that's in her house. And so we were going to go to lunch. Here's the plan. This is excitement at its highest level. Lunch in Wamego, Kansas, on to the lighting store for a mid-afternoon meeting with the lighting lady, and then down to Council Grove for a Saturday night in a hotel with clearly plans.
Yeah, not bad. Not a bad plan.
Or the Airbnb, anyway. So just out, I'm going to try to truncate this thing here. Just outside of Topeka, my car, a warning light comes on, and it says, and it never is. I've had the car for 6 years. It said alt temp oil.
Uh-oh.
So I'm not really that concerned. I figure maybe we need a little oil or whatever. I just had the car serviced fairly recently. So I said, Jane, can you look at the manual, because I'm driving, and see what alt temp oil, I believe that was it. It might be confusion of the words, but I think that's right. And she says, well, it says to pull right over to the side of the road and wait for that light to go off.
Uh-oh.
So I do that, and actually after about 30 seconds, the light did go off. But I'm like, I was concerned. It's a long drive. We still got a long way to go.
Understandably.
And so I called the dealership. Great service department at Olathe Subaru. Really, I'm not just gilding the lily here. They don't pay me or anything, but they're wonderful people. I've driven a Subaru forever. And I bought my latest Subaru, okay, as Seren Petro likes to say. So the guy says, Brian there says, you're done. You're going to have to have the thing towed. You can't drive it anymore. So anyway, we're going to...
What's that current air temperature on the interstate?
Well, it was about 95 degrees, but I don't think that was... It ends up, it's a valve problem, and you can blow your transmission.
Well, yeah, but you got to stand on the side of the road in 95.
Oh, yeah, this is bad. So anyway, we call for the tow, but we also are assessing options. At this point, we still think that, anniversary romance could still happen. We'll still work something out, whatever. So we called a couple other places. They will go nameless. But one of them, the guy just says, it's hot out. That happens all the time. You can drive the car. And only if it starts bucking do you have a real problem. And so my wife is listening, and she says, so what do you think? And I think, I don't know. I said, I'm usually willing to roll the dice. I'm the kind of guy who,
He's a real gambler.
Take a chance.
Riverboat gambler.
Whatever. We'll see. But thankfully, something in my brain just wasn't computing with this.
Yeah.
So I called this guy at Subaru back, and I said, we've got someone telling us that this is normal and we'll be fine. He says, I'll say what he said. I said, that guy's full of shit.
He's trying to sell you a transmission.
I mean, what he says, yeah, you can drive, and there's a chance that it might all work out, but if it does start bucking, your transmission's blown.
Oh.
So you're either looking here at maybe $1,000 repair, or you're looking at a new transmission. So it is not worth the chance. So we make the decision. Fine. Well, we had pulled back just past the toll booth. Okay. In West Topeka on I-70.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, my wife has the call of nature. And she's got to go to the bathroom. So she basically just walks back to the toll booth. I'm still dealing with issues, trying to get the tow, whatever. And so basically what happens is, well, I'll tell you what happened to me first. I'm on with the tow people. I get everything worked out, get set. And then I look at my phone, and there's a text from her. And it said, I just went to the ground. I think I broke my ankle. Oh, God. Well, she had gone back there, and the little administrative buildings they have next to the...
Yes, absolutely.
Right. So she's peering in the door there, and the lady in the first toll booth, who ended up being a very nice person and helped us out and whatever, shouts out at her, ma'am, what are you doing? Yeah. And startled my wife, who whips around, takes a step, and it was a false step off like a curb type thing, and rolls her ankle badly, as it turns out. And so, she texts me that. And I'm like, really? Really? Our car's dead.
So now, you got to stay with the car for the
Well, I know. I went
or you got to go.
I was hustling. I went hustling back to, see what was up.
300 yards here?
It's only 100 yards.
100 yards, okay.
So I go in, and the lady's helping her, and she's got ice on her ankle. It doesn't really look that bad. Maybe a sprain.
Yeah, suck it up, hon. Let's
we're still
go to the
thinking
hotel.
Maybe we're going to go. Well, as time goes on, it appears that this is not going to happen. We changed our plans. We were thinking of towing it to either Topeka or Lawrence because it was closer.
Yeah.
The Olathe Subaru guy says, I'd really like you to bring it back here. We've serviced this car all the time. So that's what ended up happening. And by the time a little time rolls along, we realize that this is going to be aborted because... First of all, the fun of the walking on the riverfront, and and she's in pain, and it seems to be getting worse, and so bad. So anniversary plans out the window, totally.
How'd you get home?
It turned we sat in the tow truck.
Oh, and how was that ride?
It was all right. The guy was all right. He was fine.
Yeah.
There was no deliverance aspect to this, or crazy crazy
Did
story.
he know
there.
you? Because I always wonder, like, did he
No,
know
no,
who you were?
no, didn't know who I was.
Okay, good.
No, at least he only moved here fairly recently from Wyoming. So anyway, we go to the Subaru. We got a rental, which I'm still driving. And, unfortunately, my wife didn't sprain her ankle. She broke it.
Oh.
So now she's semi-incapacitated at our house.
And I've been to your home. There are a lot of stairs at your home.
Yeah, my house is all levels.
It's mostly stairs.
Yeah, it's mostly stairs. So this isn't ideal. So we both operate our businesses out of there, and now I am operating my business, and I am also a nurse.
Oh, well, I'm sure you're a great nurse. I'm sure you're great.
I'm pretty good at that. But she says it's payback. As I said, listen to the podcast. You'll have fun with that. Reconcilable Differences with Danny and Jane. She's doing better than I thought. I mean, she actually, I thought that she was going to be.
I mean, that's not what you said earlier when it was just us.
No,
but
I did say that. I thought it was going to be a little more of a handful. Maybe it will be because, it's multiple levels. Usually she just settles down in that one place. I'll bring the coffee. I'll bring the breakfast.
But it can't hurt that you're used to being home, right? Because of this.
Yeah,
right.
She even has said no better time for this because you're sort of trained in this. But anyway, I'm certainly looking forward to another more festive anniversary.
Yes,
and
were
her
you
not being in a gigantic? She's not supposed to put any weight on this thing this could be a long time.
Oh, really? So it's bad.
It's bad. It's bad. Yeah,
like surgery, pins, and
no, probably not surgery, but I think that what their design is you do this. You do this well,
and then you don't
you don't have to have surgery. So anyway,
well, we've been stuck at home, and now you're going to be stuck at home, even if it opens up.
Right.
What have you done out of the house? Like, what is your I got my hair cut, and oh my goodness,
you felt good about that.
Ugh.
It looks you look like you said, "Give me a real haircut."
Take it all.
You kind of got a little bit of a marine cut. You know what? It looks like stylish marine.
I told Marcia, who's the gal that cuts my hair, I said, Marcia, you take it high and tight, and you take it all. I want it gone.
And you were happy.
Oh, yeah. It was so long. It had been a long time since I could see my own hair. Like, not in the mirror.
Right.
Like, it would hang over.
Right.
Yeah.
We've had actually my wife's cutter come out to our house a couple times for a porch cut.
Front porch or back porch?
We only have a back porch. Oh, well.
You have a little stoop on the front porch?
We sort of have I wouldn't call that a porch. I'd call that a stoop. If somebody was, that'd be real, that would be real trailer trash. If you were like sitting out in front in a chair and that's thing,
why I was
smoking
hoping.
A cigarette. No.
Fire up a butt, get a haircut. I like
exactly.
it. That's the way to do it. That's how they do it in my neck.
No, actually, what I think we've mentioned before, I tend to take a drive almost every evening.
Yep.
That's what I've done mostly for, I call it my therapeutic drive.
I do the same thing. It's something we have in common.
And we do it sometimes together.
Yeah, sometimes I'll call you and it's
No, I mean, Jane and I will do it sometimes together.
Oh, sorry. I thought you meant me. You looked at me. Sometimes when I'm on my drive, I'll call you. Sometimes when you're on your drive, you'll call me. And it's like...
It's almost like we've had the drive. We're taking the drive together.
Exactly. It's that time of the evening. And, typically for me, it's been a long day at work. I'm on my way home. And I got to kind of decompress. Right. I've always loved to travel.
Not advocating this, but I might have a plastic cup with me. It's the first one. You can't get into too much trouble.
And your car's make and model is?
No, let's not go there. I'm driving a rental now anyway.
Oh, it's a rental. Don't worry about the carpet, right?
Yeah, exactly. So what besides that? Well, you have children and yard and things like that.
Yeah, but my kids, there's nothing. I mean, when you saw my house, it's a nightmare because my kids are home. There's no camp. There's no sports. Although my daughter's club soccer is talking about starting again,
that'd be
and
good.
Tryouts, and I don't know though, man. It's like enjoy it now because who knows? I mean, I don't want to get into the COVID again.
But we're about to get sports cranking up at least to watch.
Oh, how about MLS? Huh? I'm so excited.
Right, and that games are going to count a little bit.
Yeah.
and we've watched a lot of, Bundesliga soccer, which you do anyway, but the rest of the world is getting, that was, by the way, that Borussia Dortmund game the other day was not one for the archives. 1-0.
Are you talking about the 1-0?
1-0.
Yeah, I watched it on my phone at the
Berlin,
lake.
Berlin, was that?
Hertha? Yeah.
Yeah. They stink. And, that was a laborious effort.
It is. Nobody cares, but this is what it's like to be a Borussia Dortmund fan. It is like they will come out and just murder somebody, and who's a great team. Like they'll come out against Schalke and score 4 goals, and then they play the bottom of the table. They'll play Paderborn or something, and just crap the bed.
Paderborn had themselves a great moment the other day.
They did.
Watched that game, a late equalizer.
That was great. I was very happy for them.
Golf starts this week, back on the PGA Tour. The only people who are screwing it up right now are baseball.
How about that, huh?
Not good. That's not good.
Versus
in this
billionaires.
point in time, you better figure stuff out.
Yeah, it's too bad. Well, where are we at? We got a little bit of time here? Are we about done?
I think we might be about done. You look. I just got to tell you again, between the high and tight and the polo shirt and the pink shorts and the what do you call those shoes anyway?
I designed these on Nike.com. The tongue
really?
Says Dude abides. One says Dude, the other says abides. You know what that's from?
Yes, right? Of course.
That's from The Big Lebowski. And, I designed these. They match the shorts.
They do.
I'm glad you like them.
Everything matches. I mean, you're almost Garanimals right now. So,
well, I told you our neighbors are moving to Austin. We're very good friends with them.
Well, that'll give you a great excuse to go there and visit.
Yeah,
and
it will.
Enjoy it.
It will. And, I just moved into a new building for my business. And so tonight we're going to go celebrate
their impending departure
and my new building, and they're going to come see the building. So we're going to have champagne
Ooh.
And enjoy the. We've only got a few weeks left with Mark and Liz left, and so we're gonna.
It's going to be a real thirsty Thursday.
It's going to be a real thirsty Thursday. Tomorrow's going to be rough.
Perfect way to end. Raise our glasses and say we'll talk to you again real soon.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like the law offices of Kenneth McRae, developing a unique strategy for your family law case. Divorce can be civil law, not civil war.